It's a beautiful night in downtown Oklahoma City, and we're at the Cox Arena and Convention Center for the 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge. Tonight, it's the Oklahoma Sooners, the #1 team in the nation, welcoming Stanford. Hi, everybody. I'm Bart Connor, along with Kelly Garrison Funderburk, my fellow OU Sooner and fellow Olympian. Good to be with you, Kelly. Looking very forward to this meet tonight. Now, the OU Sooners have been running the table this year. They're #1 in the nation, but tonight to win, they're going to have to do it without one of their superstars, and that is Maggie Nichols, who sprained her ankle earlier this week.
Well, I think it's still going to be just fine. There's so much depth on this team, and it really gives the Sooners an opportunity to try out some of those athletes that we wouldn't normally see. And so not having a starter like Maggie Nichols, it's going to be okay. I mean, I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing some of these other athletes.
Now, the Stanford Cardinal, they've had some of their challenges as well because they lost some of their superstars earlier this season as well.
They did. You know, it was like a punch in the stomach. I mean, they lost several athletes very early on. But that's so... It's just a matter of how and when they have it during the season. They're going to face injuries. And how do they battle those injuries? How do they come back from them? This is a great opportunity for Coach Tabitha Yim to teach these athletes on her team grit and tenacity and to understand how it's to be a champion for life, not just in sport.
Tonight's Sooner to watch is Anastasia Webb, the junior who is having just a spectacular season, isn't she?
Oh, she is awesome. You're really going to enjoy watching her because she's so consistent, and she just has a way that she moves. So get ready. It's going to be a great night to watch gymnastics.
So it's a 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge from downtown Oklahoma City. The #1 Oklahoma Sooners will be on the vault when we come back, and they're ranked #1 in the nation on that event as well. One, two, three, four. This is Bart Connor, the 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge. 1, 2, 3 from Oklahoma City. We're at the Cox Arena and Convention Center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Should I bust out in song? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect 10 Challenge.
We're back in Oklahoma City at the Cox Arena and Convention Center. This is the one-touch warm-up. The final touch for both of these teams as they get set to compete in the 2020 Perfect 10 Classic Challenge event. Let's take a look at some of the rules in collegiate competition. 6 gymnasts will compete on each team, on each event. Just the best 5 scores count towards their team total, meaning the lowest score is dropped. And after all 4 apparatus, the team with the highest cumulative score wins. Let's go down to the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Meg McDonald.
Hey, Bart, last time out, the Oklahoma Sooners had a program-high 49-775 on this event. It was a lights-out night for OU, but it started with the leadoff sophomore, Olivia Troutman. She nailed a 9.975 in that leadoff position. It followed Allie Stern, another 9.975 in the second position, and of course, Maggie Nichols capped it off with a perfect 10, her 3rd of the season, guys. But that will not be the case tonight. Maggie Nichols will not be competing, but there will only be 5 10-0 starts as opposed to 6 10-0 starts. But the Sooners still #1 on this event and still looking to achieve a really high score.
All right, thanks a lot, Meg. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting night as the athletes get their final one touch before this competition gets underway. The OU Sooners ranked #1 in the country, and they are #1 on this event as well, Kelly. Let's take a look at what the judges are looking for here.
Well, they definitely want to see the height and distance off of the table, but also form and body position in the air and upon the landing. Of course, they want a stuck landing.
The Sooners are #1 in the country on vault and bars, and they're #3 in the country on balance beam and floor exercise. And they have shown remarkable consistency this year. Let's take a look at the keys to today's competition, Kelly.
Well, I'm so fortunate to be able to compete on the podium, but it also provides a unique opportunity because it gives the gymnast a little more bounce. They'll call the podium bounce. And so you have to learn how to control that, particularly on the vault and floor landings. And then also having a strategy for peaking for the season, knowing when to pull your athletes to rest them. Sometimes you have a choice, sometimes you don't. Just like we talked about earlier, sometimes they're sick. So figuring that out is a key component.
Talk about a key opportunity. Here is Reagan Smith, the freshman. She'll be going in the all-around tonight for just her 3rd time this season. It'll be great to see her here.
Reagan is just an outstanding Sooner, and I can't wait to watch her throughout her career. Just as a freshman, she's really starting to come into her own finally. It's fun to watch.
She does that Yurchenko full twist vault, and as Meg noted, the Sooners the only team in the country this year that put all the athletes with a 10.0 start value, but because tonight they're without Maggie Nichols, they use Reagan Smith, and this vault was clean, wasn't it? But not the highest level of difficulty.
That's right. You can see here we're just catching up with watching on the uneven bars.
Taylor Lawson from Stanford. In this competition, we go back and forth between the vault and the floor, the uneven bars. Stanford, the visiting team, starts on the uneven bars. Stanford currently 25th in the nation. And they've had a bit of a struggle this year with some injuries and some changes in the lineup, but hoping for a great performance tonight against the #1 team in the nation. As we go to Allie Stern for the Sooners, the second person in the lineup.
Allie just came off a fantastic vault last week, the best of her life. Oh wow, it's very close to doing it again. I love seeing that height off of the vaulting table. Learning to stick it like she did last week is her key focus that she needs to master.
Her season high last year was a 9.875. She did that twice, but you're right. Last week she had a 9.975 at TWU.
She has really come along. She looks so much better because she has more time up in the air and gives her the opportunity to find that landing.
We go back to bars now for Stanford. This is Grace Wagaspak, the sophomore from Lake Mary, Florida.
She really has a nice, clean line about her, the chapache. Right there into a medium pack salto. That is something they're looking for. Ooh! She made that handstand a little wobbly over the top with a slight arch. But hits her last handstand. And looks for the dismount right here. Whoa, a little close, but she finds the landing. That's exactly what they want.
Good for her. She's an uneven bars specialist. They have lots of depth on this event, actually. It's a good event for the Stanford Cardinal. They're hoping to get her maybe in the beam lineup this year as well.
You can see right there on that landing, she pulled in just a touch or on the dismount, but she was able to pull it around.
Jade Degovea, let's update you with the scores. Now, Reagan Smith led the Sooners off with a 9.8. Allie Stern a 9.875. Here is Degovea, the senior.
Jade really has the ability to get up off the vault also. Oh, she was so close. She totally had that. She'll be frustrated when she rewatches that video. She tries so hard. It's like 1 week forward, 1 week stepping back.
She's the senior from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and she is having an outstanding senior season. We'll see her on the uneven bars in the next rotation, where she hadn't competed in the uneven bars her entire career, and yet she stepped up this year and is just crushing it for the Sooners over there. Madison Brunette will be next to go. Let's update you on the scores for Stanford on the bars. Taylor Lawson led them off with a 9.75. Grace Wagaspak, her comp score is now in 9.825, and this brings up Madison Burnett, the sophomore from Seattle, Washington.
Here she hits starts our handstand. I love this combination right here. Wow, right into a secondary release move. It's so difficult to do 2 in a row. Nice handstand. That's what the judges are looking for. And then look for the landing. Oh, she was so close.
Anastasia Webb up now for the Sooners. A 5'5" junior from Morton Grove, Illinois, my hometown, and she'll be competing in the all-around tonight.
Nice! A perfect vault! Look at that! That's exactly what she is capable of. She's been waiting for that. Surely the judges are going to agree. How could they do it any better? A perfect 10. It's hard when they're not building that score. The last score was a 9.85, and so normally it's 9.85, 9.95, and so now are they going to jump that 10th and a half?
Eve Miko now on the bars for Stanford. 9.8 was the score for Madison Burnett.
Look at that. What a beautiful bar routine she's doing. Oh, that is such a unique dismount. It's one of the very few I've seen in the country. I love how she does that full and a half twist to land.
She did not compete last year on any of the events, had a shoulder injury. Her first NCAA meet was just 2 weeks ago, so good effort for the sophomore Eve Miko. Olivia Troutman set to go for the Sooners.
Olivia is finally back in the lineup on vault, and they need her. Wow, big! Oh, she nailed it! Are you kidding me? That was fantastic. So great. Not really having all the numbers in competition on vault, and she comes back 2 weeks in a row and nails her landing. Just stunning.
In fact, Jade Degovea before them, 9.85, and Anastasia Webb, a 9.975 leading up to this.
Will they do it? Are they gutsy enough? We'll see in just a second.
That was a career high for Anastasia Webb with that 9.975. Here we are at bars now. Kyla Bryant, the junior from Georgia. She is an outstanding all-arounder.
She is one to memorize her name. She has power written all over her. She's so... She just has spunk, even whether she's swinging on the bars or doing her floor routine. We get to watch her all night because she'll be in the all-around. Look at this. Just flies. She is really, really great and fun to watch.
She finished the regular season last year, 26th in the nation in the all-around, and having a solid season this year as a junior for Stanford. So quickly back to the vault now. Evie Schofer ready to go, but the score is in, and you called it, Kelly. Olivia Troutman, a perfect 10. You know, she got a perfect 10 on the floor last year at this meet. So in the perfect 10 challenge, a perfect 10 for Minnesota's Olivia Troutman.
So deserving. This team is really on fire on vault, and I remember a time when vault was not their best event. They were just wanting desperately to have vaulters, and look at the turnaround. Amazing.
So it's the perfect 10 challenge, and already in the first rotation we have a perfect 10. We go back to bars now for Stanford. Eve Miko had a 9.7. We don't yet have the score for Kyla Bryant. No, now it looks like it's in at 9.75, and that brings up Grace Garcia.
I love that they are working these transitions of having 2 flights in a row. That provides bonus because these routines start at that 9-4. Oh, lovely dismount. Unfortunately, she took a pretty significant hop, and it didn't really look like she even needed to so much. Just finding that landing is going to be a key for their team, because every hop is going to be a 10th, if not more.
The score for Sooners' Evie Schofer was a 9.825. Now, this is Emma LaPinta, the sophomore from Frisco, Texas. She is performing an exhibition performance, which means that she has a chance to gain some experience by going for her vault here. But regardless of what score she gets, it will not count towards the team total. Remember, 6 athletes compete. You count just the best 5 scores. But in collegiate competition, they often allow one more athlete to go in an exhibition performance to have them have an opportunity to gain some experience. We've seen her many times on the floor exercise, but it's great to see Emma on the vault for the Sooners.
Well, it is. And Bart, you may not realize she's never competed vault. So for the Sooners, so this really is a great opportunity for experience and to have it on podium.
Kelly Ram now for the Stanford Cardinal will be an exhibition performer for them, coming after Grace Garcia had a 9.8.
See her first release move. And then right there, a pack salto, her second. Again, you're looking for these long lines hitting the top of the handstand right at vertical. So as you're at home, oh, yeah, real close. And then here's the dismount. Look for her chest position. When she lands, it was up, but actually she pulled her feet underneath her a little bit too much, causing her to step.
Kelly Ram, the freshman from Newport Beach, California, getting a little experience here, not only in an exhibition role, but on the podium at the 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge. The Sooners outstanding on the vault, and Olivia Troughton with a spectacular perfect 10 to cap off an outstanding rotation. The Sooners have the lead after the first of 4 rotations here at the Perfect
The Perfect 10 Challenge is brought to you by Healthcare Highways, the Chickasaw Nation, the Oklahoma Visit. The Perfect 10 Challenge is brought to you by
We're back at the Cox Arena and Convention Center here in Oklahoma City. Athletes doing the one-touch warm-up for the second rotation. Let's update you on the scores after the first rotations. You can see the individual scores for both teams. Stanford on the bars at a 48-9-2-5. Pretty consistent scores, all of them between 9-7 and 9-8-2-5. The Sooners had a 49-5-2-5, and of course the highlight there was Olivia Troutman's first perfect 10 on that event. And you see the scores for the Sooners. The lowest score was a 9-8, and they all went all the way up to a perfect 10. Let's go down to Meg.
Bart, someone to look out for on this event for the Sooners is senior Jade Degovea. She has never been in this lineup up until this season, and she told me that it had to do with her dismount. But get this, she's ranked 5th in the nation on this event, her very first season competing for the Sooners on bars. I asked her what was the problem with the dismount, because you look at her dismount and it looks flawless. And she told me when she arrived to Norman, this Oklahoma coaching staff had to change her tap. So she came to Oklahoma and she had that above the low bar tap like a Nastia Lewinkin. Well, now they had to change it to below the low bar tap, which, as you know, Barton Kelly, that changes everything. That is a basic gymnastic skill, the tap. So changes everything, but guys, you would never know. This routine is flawless.
Thank you, Meg. Yes, it's exciting to see her really coming into her own this year. And, you know, she's really embracing everything that comes along with being a senior and performing extremely well. The Sooners, #1 in the country on the uneven bars. And let's take a look at some of the things that the judges are looking for, Kelly.
Well, Bart, they always want to see a really big swing, but also with great form. I mentioned earlier hitting those vertical handstands and then transitioning between the low bar and the high bar, different combinations to do that. And then the landing position where their chest is as they're hitting the ground. And then, of course, as everyone, even grandmas can tell whether you stick it or not. So, got to stick that landing. It's the last thing the judges see you do, and you want to kind of tell them, so there you go.
You hear all the cheering in the background. They're throwing out free T-shirts to the fans. This, of course, is all part of the Bart and Nadia Sports Experience Weekend. The Nadia Comaneci International Invitational is going on, and there are teams from all over the United States and even Canada and Mexico here competing in the Cox Arena and Convention Center. So a lot of young families here. Not only are they having an opportunity to compete this weekend, but they're also having an opportunity to see the #1 team in the nation, the Oklahoma Sooners, in this Perfect 10 Challenge. So that's always been our goal, is to create an event where we can give these young athletes a chance to compete, but also to see the finest college team in the country, Kelly.
That's right. You know, I just can't commend you enough for having this meet here, and it attracts so many gymnasts at so many different levels of the sport. So it's exciting, and I say thank you. Hats off to you.
Well, we have a great staff at Bart Conner Gymnastics, and they're doing wonderful things. We've been running meets for a long time, but it's really fun to see it all come together. Okay, here we are for vault. This is Kaylee Cole for Stanford.
She will be doing that Yurchenko full. Okay, great stick. Slight pie coming down, so that will definitely be a significant deduction. She breaks pretty strongly.
She is the senior from Flower Mound, Texas. Been leadoff on vault and floor exercise all 4 years, and she's been a reliable competitor for the Stanford Cardinal. Okay, the leadoff performer for the Sooners will be Olivia Troutman. Let's see what she can do after already notching a perfect 10 on vault in the first rotation.
No pressure or anything. Makes her first release move just perfect, and then her second again. I mentioned earlier there's a little bit of a bounce in the equipment when you're on the podium, and you have to learn to wait on the bar as you're swinging and not be so anxious. She's doing a fine job. Find the landing.
Wow, beautiful.
I love the way she lands. She just hits and just bends in the knees. And I mean, she's not, it doesn't even look like she's trying. Excellent.
Her season high is a 9.9. She got that against Alabama this year. And boy, she did finesse this routine. Look at the execution. Back to vault now. Kyla Bryant for Stanford.
Powerhouse right there. You know, once she learns to get a little more pop off of, with her chest off of the vault, she'll be doing that full and a half. She has the ability. She is one spectacular athlete to watch.
The junior from Georgia. She is known as the team's firecracker.
You can see why. The smile says it all, really.
It really does. She can just light up a room with that incredible smile and her energy. Carrie Thomas, the junior from Coral Springs, Florida, coming up after a 9.875 in the leadoff spot for Olivia Troutman.
You know, Carrie had been nursing a little strain in her back. Nothing major, but to be able to have to come right back into the bar lineup, replace Maggie Nichols, gives her the opportunity, like we talked about, to see the depth, but also she's been off a couple weeks and resting, so to be back in that position, she's done a really good job. Not quite the stick that she wants, but that's okay.
Normally contributing on bars and beam. Her high score this year is a 9.9 versus Arkansas. They hope to have her in beam in the lineup soon as well. Back to the vault now. Lauren Navarro coming after Kyla Bryant had a 9.8.
So all the gymnasts from Stanford today are going to do the Yurchenko full, and this is one area that Coach Yem has really been working on, is finding that landing, and so far so good.
Navarro, the junior from Laverne, California.
What they might be lacking sometimes in the height, they're finding on the landing, so if they can combine the two, it'll be perfect.
Back to bars now. Vanessa Denise, the freshman from New Jersey.
Vanessa's ranked 22nd nationally. The judges really like her line. A little bit loose, actually, on that catch of the handstand.
Talk about the Sooners testing their depth. You know, she didn't compete in the first 4 meets of the season, but last week stepped up and got a 9.9 on uneven bars, Kelly.
Well, she is finding her way. That's exactly right. I mean, I think that is odd that she didn't start those first 4 meets. And it wasn't really from injury. I think it was from a confidence thing. She had to prove to the coaches, I'm ready to go.
Back to vault now for Stanford. Chloe Widner.
This is another all-arounder you're going to see, and you can see why. She was able to keep the body laid out a little bit more as she completed her vault. The landing wasn't perfect, but it was very close.
Freshman in the all-around from Frisco, Texas, did her club training at Texas Dreams, and she's an all-around champion last year at the Junior Olympic National Championships.
You can see her style is so similar from her coach, Kim Semeskel. As I watched her gymnastics, you can just see that so apparent as she goes through.
Scores in for Vanessa Denise. It's a 9.825. And that brings up Anastasia Webb, our Sooner to watch.
Anastasia's just so dynamic. Look at that packed salto. It's so high, and to be able to catch the low bar like that, that's hard. It's amazing. And look at this dismount. She did a little close in warm-up. So, she got it. Landing wasn't great, but she at least did not pull in like she did in warm-ups. That's always scary for us gymnastic fans when you're watching, to not panic a little bit when you see that. We want them safe.
Madison Burnett now for Stanford, coming after Chloe Widner. Her score is in as a 9.825.
So you'll be seeing her compete another Euro full. Oh, that was a little rough on the landing. I hope she is not hurt. It looked, the way she landed, it looked, she seems to be walking it off just fine, but a little bit scary from here in the arena. Well, with that smile, I guess she's okay. You know, one thing I noticed a little bit is twisting a little early onto the table, and I've noticed that with a couple of their gymnasts. So maybe that's something they can focus in on.
I see the OU coaching staff over there talking to the judges because it might be possible that the athletes went out of order. And that actually could be a deduction. Now, Jade Degovea is waiting on the sidelines, but the two coaches, Lou Ball and Tom Haley, are now discussing with the judges. Perhaps the athletes did go out of order. You're able to change your order right till the start of the competition of that particular event. But it may be possible that the Sooners actually went out of order, because even our rotation sheet was expecting to see Jade Degovea, and yet we saw Anastasia Webb. So there is Tom Haley, who has just done a superb job with this team on the uneven bars, and he's a big reason why they're the #1 team in the country. And there is Lou Ball, who is outstanding coach as well. They have really one of the finest coaching staffs in the country. Lou Ball, the husband of KJ Kindler, and they all came here 14 years ago. The Sooners have won 4 NCAA team championships and are undefeated so far this year, and in a good position to challenge once again for a national title for their 5th one. So here comes Jade Degovea.
It's really exciting to watch Jade just coming in her senior year, putting it all together. Beautiful pack salto. You know, sometimes too, having to wait for the judges in a situation like that kind of gives the gymnast a little bit of angst, but she's fine. Oh, and nailed that landing. She's like, I got it. No worries. I can wait all day long.
Boy, she has very few deductions. She is so clean in all the critical elements, whether it's leg position, handstands, or landings.
Well, and I mean, it's just really hard to find, like you said, Bart, hard to find a deduction.
Madison Huang now coming after, Morgan Huang coming after Madison Burnett got a 9.65.
She did not compete last meet, so this was a great vault for her. I think Stanford's going to be very happy with their vault rotation. This was fantastic. Her high score of the season is a 9.85, so we will see if, hopefully, that score can beat that.
She did no vault last year in competition for Stanford, but competed consistently on floor exercise. Good to see her in the lineup there. Reagan Smith coming up now after Jade Degovea got an impressive 9.95.
With good reason. You can see why. One thing that Reagan has is she is dynamic.
Oh, wow, what a handstand.
How pretty. Oh, I love her technique on that dismount. I just love it.
And her face, a huge, exciting finish for the young lady who's going in the all-around for only the 3rd time as a Oklahoma Sooner. Of course, she has an incredible pedigree as one of the great international gymnasts for the U.S. national team, world medals, and oh, what a moment for this young freshman who is loving everything that college gymnastics is all about.
That's right. I mean, transitioning from Olympic level and the elite level to coming to college gymnastics and just really embracing it. And it's so fun to see the way she's transitioning and how she's really blossoming from literally meet to the next meet to the next meet.
She's such a fan favorite, of course. She's a great international elite athlete, was poised to basically walk in the park and win the world all-around title back in 2017, and she sprained her ankle in the warm-ups for the vault and unfortunately had to sit out. And Morgan Hurd, the U.S. teammate, won the all-around title, and she did a spectacular job to do it. But there was no question that the favorite that day was Reagan Smith. It wasn't to be, and then she tried to stay with the elite program and decided, hey, I think I'm going to hang that up and just go to college. And boy, so exciting to see her thrive, because she is a fan favorite. People love, they feel sorry that she didn't quite fulfill her elite dreams, but it's exciting to see her having this kind of experience in college.
It kind of reminds me also of Maggie Nichols. You know, the same situation 4 years later, or 3, and Maggie not really making that Olympic team for whatever reason you want to look at it. But same situation, got injured, and then Reagan comes in. I mean, what a perfect role model for her to say, look, let's come into college and dominate this thing and show people what we're really made of. And no better person to be a role model than Maggie Nichols.
All right, so that wraps up the second of 4 rotations here at the 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge. We'll update the team scores when we come back to Oklahoma City. We're back in Oklahoma City at the 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge. The athletes making their final one-touch warm-ups in this third of 4 rotations. There's Reagan Smith on the balance beam. She is having an outstanding day in the all-around, and by the way, had a 9.95 on bars in that last rotation. All of this is happening here in Oklahoma City as a part of the Bart and Nadia Sports Experience, and we encourage folks in Oklahoma City to come out on Saturday, February 22nd, which is tomorrow, and try to play some sports and have some fun. We're expecting over 10,000 people to learn a little bit about hockey and gymnastics and judo and cricket and tennis and golf and softball and any number of sports. The sports experience is designed to encourage families to be mindful of health, wellness, and fitness, and it's a fun way to get in shape. So we hope you enjoy and come on down from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday and have some fun playing some sports and get connected to a sports activity that you might not otherwise have tried. So let's go down to Meg McDonald.
Hey, Bart, thanks so much. I had a chance to catch up with Tom Haley, one of the assistant coaches for Oklahoma. I asked him about the 2 Sooners who returned to these lineups, both on vault and both on bars, in the last week or so. First, we'll start on vault, Olivia Troutman, who goes at 10. And I asked him what he's liked about her on this specific event, and he said she's fresh. Her mind is fresh. Having to sit out was huge for her. She's been itching to compete, guys. And then I had a chance to talk to him about Carrie Thomas, on bars, and he said she did a great job. She's only done about 5 routines in the gym prior to that routine, so very excited about how that went, guys. Excited to get going on beam.
Thank you, Meg. And there is Tom Haley. He's giving a few notes after an outstanding rotation on the bars for the Sooners. And here is KJ Kindler doing her pre-beam performance magic. I think few coaches have dialed in their athletes better than KJ Kindler in her 14th season here for OU. And she told me the other day that this little pre-performance talk is completely specific for each athlete. Some want her to stay focused on the routine. Some are looking for a little lighthearted take the pressure off, and so she said she tries to create a dialogue right before they go up to perform that is custom made for that particular athlete.
Well, it's so helpful to know what the athlete wants. You got to know your athlete, and that's exactly what she's doing.
Olivia Troutman now had a 10 in the first rotation.
She just has such a natural way of when she gets up, you just feel confident, and that's why she's in the leadership role, being first up.
After her perfect 10 on vault, she came back to the bars, led the Sooners off there with a 9.875.
So this is her 4th time back up. Look at that, just perfection. No wobble, pulls right up to the finish.
You're right. She's been in 3 meets, and twice she scored 9.9 on beam. She really is a very complete gymnast because she has the power and she has good technique and body positions throughout. So really, I think, as you know, we look at other athletes that are going to be graduating like Maggie Nichols and others, I mean, things look good for the Sooners if you can have people like Olivia Troutman, who's a very balanced gymnast, help you as an all-arounder.
Well, and here she's been out and to come right back into the lineup and not be worried and to be able to hit. That's what you have to have for that first athlete up. I mean, people dream to have this athlete to be able to go first.
In the preseason competition in December, she actually broke a bone in her foot, and that meant that she has been out of the lineup for many performances. They used her on bars, and then they're slowly bringing her back event by event. But Olivia Troutman having an outstanding day today. We saw her on vault and bars, and that great performance on the beam. Kaylee Cole will be the leadoff performer for Stanford on the floor.
Kaylee has a new floor routine this year, and she has a signature straddle jump that you'll see mid-routine. I'll point it out to you.
All 4 years she's leadoff on vault and floor for Stanford.
There's several girls. Nice. Oh, perfect. Oh, except she's not. I guess I didn't quite see that flag. Okay. She had a perfect landing. It's out of bounds, though. 1/10 off. She was part of the Bolivian national team. You can see her flexibility. Several of the gymnasts on Stanford are taking advantage of having the 2 tumbling passes in their floor set this year. She is one of them. So they get some of their bonus combination. There's that straddle jump. Wowee! She knows how to work that crowd. Her old routines were all about Britney Spears, and now look at this. Finishes better. I've seen it a little kind of out of control, but that was a much better rebound and jump in that last tumbling pass. So good start for the Cardinals on floor.
Stanford currently ranked 25th in the nation. They've been over their score 196 twice this season, but as we noted at the top of the show, they lost 4 of their star athletes to injuries, unfortunately, this year, and they've had to mix up their lineup a few times, but I think they're happy with the effort so far today and showing really a consistent, clean performance in this Perfect 10 Challenge. As we go now to Jenna Dunn from Oklahoma City and former competitor at Bart Connor Gymnastics, coming after Olivia Troutman got a 9.775.
What I love about Jenna is she attacks the balance beam. It's exactly what you're supposed to do. The flight series, triple series that she did, proof of that. A lot of times you'll say a gymnast wiggles their way up into a lineup, but not her. She has secured her way into this balance beam lineup. Pretty hard to do.
I'm just thinking back how many times she's actually been on this beam, because as a youngster she competed several times in the Nadia Comaneci International Invitational, and so this is just a comfortable place for freshman Jenna Dunn, no question.
Oh, another. She's changed up her dismount a couple of times. One meet it was the front full, then it was a back full off the side. Now she's back to the front full. I guess that's what season's all about, is figuring out what is best for the team.
KJ Kindler says we're really trying her to figure out a way she can stick that landing, because she can get a big score on beam if she could put that last element down cleanly. 9.775 was the leadoff score for Kaylee Cole, and this is Taylor Lawson.
Watch this tumbling pass, the beginning pass. It's the same as what Maggie Nichols does. So don't be surprised. Here you'll see it. Round off, full and a half twist. Oh, push right into double back. Great job. It's fun music. You know, they can't sing in the music, but they can have voices. odd.
She contributed to beam bars and floor lineups last year all season long, but Coach Tabitha Yim, who is in her 3rd season at Stanford, very happy with how she has really dedicated to the details this year, and they're really pleased with the season that Taylor Lawson is having now in her junior year.
She ends with this big double pike, which is a bonus for her this year, and that's why some of these athletes are using that double back and the 2 tumbling passes in order to get that bonus. Great job. Her high is, season high is 9.85. Good chance she might beat that.
The Sooners comfortably in the lead at the halfway point with a 99 team score. Stanford 97.8, so they're behind 1.2 as we go to the beam. Jenna Dunn a 9.8, and that brings up Carly Woodard. By the way, we have to wrap this up. Over on the uneven bars, the Sooners did compete out of order, and according to meet director Lisa Kavanaugh, the Sooners will incur a 1/10 of a point deduction at the end of the meet for having the athletes compete out of order. That's the rules, and unfortunately somehow they got their signals crossed and the athletes competed in the wrong order.
But like I said earlier, better now at the NCAA championship and miss or lose a national championship because of it. Now this is Carly Woodard, and Carly has been fighting sickness this week, so to have her up there performing, it's really good because you never know what you're going to wake up feeling at the championships. Got to be able to compete 6 sometimes. Pushing through it, it's critical. She is a specialist on balance beam, and to have to wait all meet and then come up and do your beam routine is hard. Notice her flexibility here.
Talk about consistent. 8 meets she's competed for the Sooner this year. The low score a 9.8, the high score a 9.95. I mean, she is a balance beam specialist in every sense.
Well, she seems to find that landing also, something that they're counting on. Wasn't necessarily the best set I've seen her do, but in spite of the circumstances of fighting a sickness, she looked great.
To the floor now for Stanford. Chloe Widner. You see her score on vault earlier.
Coach
Taylor Lawson had a 9.8. Kaylee Cole a 9.675.
Coach Tabitha mentioned Chloe as a freshman. She has all this ability, but one thing that she's really working on is on her presentation. Look at this beautiful high double layout.
You see the athletes using an additional mat. They are allowed to use a additional 4-inch mat there as long as they put tape on it so that they can make sure that the athletes stay within the boundaries. But it's a safety measure and it protects the ankles on these athletes. Let's face it, they're into the season now. They've all had 7 or 8 meets, and you know, every week they're competing, and there's a lot of pounding, and you get pretty sore about this time of year, don't you?
Well, and especially for a freshman who's not used to competing every single weekend. That's a transition to have to make from club gymnastics to college, where you've got 8 or 9, 10, week after week. It's hard, and that's why they have to rest athletes as they age. Freshman year, maybe not so bad. Senior year, woo, different story. So she ends with a big double pike also. Look at that. She does it with ease, nice and high. Love her routine.
Chloe Widner, the freshman from Frisco, Texas. Heavy Chopper now for the Sooners on the beam, coming after Carly Woodard, a 9.75. So the Sooners, the number 3 team in the country on beam, and we have seen them score better. But that's one of the benefits of being in this competition, because it's on a podium. The dynamics, as you mentioned, top of the show, there's what they call the podium bounce. The beams are a little bit bouncier up there, and this is how they're going to have to compete at the national championships later in April.
Which is all the more reason this is such a great opportunity for the team to get on the equipment in a big arena, and feeling this landing, finding the dismount, sitting and holding and staying down to find the landing to stick it. That's what's going to win the national championship. Whoever can do that best and make that adjustment the best.
Madison Brunette, you see her scores on the other two events she's performed, bars and vault. Madison, a sophomore from Seattle, Washington. Coaching staff really proud that her confidence has grown a great deal.
Madison will be performing the 2 tumbling pass routine.
She's coming after Chloe Widner, had a 9.8.
You can see in the corner, that's Coach Tabitha Yim. She's such a leader for the Stanford program, really working to make a really positive impact in these girls' lives. Women, I should say. But she knows what makes a championship team is a championship habit. So whether it's sports or life or school, that's her goal. She was part of the program at Stanford when they were in the top 5, and she said she is clearly on the path to get them back there.
Head coach Tabitha Yim graduated in 2008. She coached at Arizona for a short period of time, and then she got the exciting opportunity to go back to her alma mater and be the head coach at the Stanford Cardinal.
Wow, what a high. That's a good example of the bounce. I mean, it's good. It can get you really high in the air, but it's also you have to be able to spot and find that landing. As you'll notice, that's why they're stepping out of bounds quite a bit. They have so much power.
Reagan Smith now up on beam for the Sooners, coming ever. Evie Schofer had a 9.8.
I like her unique mount. Shows off her flexibility.
Talked about her being in the all-around today. It's interesting because we mentioned at the top of the show, of course, that Maggie Nichols with a sprained ankle is out of the all-around today. Great opportunity for Reagan, and boy, did she deliver on bars with a 9.95 coming after her 9.8 in vault.
I just see her gaining confidence with each competition, and that's really what was lacking. I think she just had a little fear, just not knowing exactly what this was college gymnastic thing was all about, and she's really starting to find it. It's just fun to see. I love that.
This event, balance beam, is really where she shines. Twice this year, she scored 9.95s.
Well, and it's interesting because Anastasia has been so great in the all-around. This puts a little pressure. Not that there's pressure between the two, but, I mean, you know, you do want to win the all-around if you can. So it's exciting, though, because the better one is, the better they all are. Wow, man!
What a day freshman Reagan Smith is having. Wow.
I mean, she is making a statement.
I was talking to KJ Kindler about her the other day, and she said, I loved coaching her. And she said her attitude is so terrific because, you know, instead of saying I have to compete every week, she's like, I get to compete every week. That's the coolest thing about college gymnastics. So great to see her having an outstanding night in the all-around for Oklahoma. Back to the floor now for Stanford. Madison Brunette, a 9.7. Morgan Huang now.
Look at that gigantic double layout. Talk about fun and pizzazz, and I love her personality just shining through everything she does. It's like the whole package. She's got the tumbling and the smile and the dance.
She's a sophomore from Sugar Land, Texas. Competed floor exercise last year in every meet for the Cardinal. Their second highest returning scorer on this event.
She controls that landing, which is great. So being such a strong tumbler, she's taking advantage of doing the 3 tumbling pass. Watch this last pass. Perfect double pike. Clockwork. I love that whole ending part that she does. That's so, the choreography is so cool.
And her tumbling technique is superb. Talk about the day that Reagan Smith is having. She had a 9.925 on her beam routine, and that brings up Anastasia Webb for the Sooners.
Well, and Anastasia is a competitor. She wants to win. I love that she is so aggressive when she does the beam. Almost everything she does. She has a style of her own, and it's enthralling is what it is. You really can't take your eyes off of her. Look at that.
Talking to KJ Kindler, she said she's been a bit fatigued and not completely as strong as she normally is the last few weeks.
Huh.
But she has been solid. She only had one sort of uncharacteristic fall on floor at the meet against Iowa State, where she just kind of ran out of gas. But otherwise, she's hit 31 of 32 routines this season.
Well, and she's, as I mentioned at the top, that she's been in every single competition since she came here. That in itself is exhausting. She does have something about her, though. I mean, she's more confident in general. You know, Reagan's like, gosh, I hope I make this. And then she makes it, and she's like, I did it. So that'll come with time.
Next on floor for Stanford, Kyla Bryant. Morgan Huang, a impressive 9.875. Bryant is the anchor performer here for the Cardinal.
Well, get ready. This gal's got the package now. Best tumbling pass probably of the meet right here. Look at that.
Ooh.
Full in. Ooh. Oh, too bad. Too bad. Okay, so this is only Stanford's second time of being on a podium this year. So that right there is why they want to come here and get used to this podium experience. I mean, she's got power just oozing out of her, but she's got to find those landings. So here's her next chance. Look at her kind of jogging into that second pass. Really? Front through to double pike. It's nice when they really pull their personalities out and show it off in their routine. Little wonky on that jump, just a little bit off to the side. Check out this tumbling. Open double tuck. That means she does not grab with her arms to help herself get around. She has so much power. She uses her stomach muscles to be able to do that last tumbling pass. I mean, I'm not sure I can do that first tumbling pass. Watch right here. You'll see what I'm talking about. This full in, back out, and just a little too much power. Had to step back. Unfortunately, all those out of bounds, 1/10.
The junior from Georgia, though, she's exciting to watch, no question about it. Back to beam now. The score in for Anastasia Webb, a 9.925. Exhibition performance now from Vanessa Denise.
This is the one event if Vanessa could gain a little more confidence. each time she gets up on the equipment, she's going to have that opportunity. Difficult tumbling aerial right into back handspring. What makes that hard for those who aren't gymnasts who are watching is you're twisting and then having to straighten back out to go backwards. I like that she's so clean and sharp in the way she dances. It makes for great pictures. It's just crisp. If you're a gymnast watching at home, you want to see how she snaps and hits those landing poses or those positions. Nice. Again, showing the depth the Sooners have. That's exactly, it gives them opportunity, but it also says, hey, we got her if we need her. Fantastic.
So the Sooners firmly in control of this team competition with a lead of just under 1.5 points over Stanford Cardinal. And an exciting all-around battle actually developing here between Reagan Smith and Anastasia Webb. They're separated by less than 1/10 of a point as we get set to go to the fourth and final rotation. It's a great night here in Oklahoma City, and you're watching the 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge. I'm Bart Connor along with Kelly Garrison Funderburk at the 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge. Here are the team scores after 3 of 4 rotations. The Oklahoma Sooners with a 148-125 firmly in control. Stanford with a 146-825, 1.3 behind. Now the Sooners will incur a 1/10 of a point deduction, which won't really affect the team outcome in this competition because the Sooners are solidly in first place, but that was because the athletes competed out of order. But we had a perfect 10 tonight from Olivia Troutman in that first rotation on the vault, and that was exciting. And speaking of the history of perfect 10s, KJ Kindler has been 14 years at OU and has 42 perfect 10s scored during that time. Maggie Nichols on a pace to try to set a new record. Kiara Redmond was the first 10 in the Kindler era and the first 10 at OU, and in fact the first 10 in the history of the NCAA was my broadcast partner Kelly Garrison Funderburk just a few years ago.
Just
Kelly.
A few years back.
Keeping with the theme of perfect 10s, this whole event is named in honor of the original first perfect 10 in the history of Olympic competition. There she is, my lovely bride, and Nadia Comaneci, the first perfect 10 in the history of the Olympics. Nadia, of course, a winner of 9 Olympic medals, 5 of them gold. Let's go down to Meg McDonald.
Bart, we've talked about it all night that competing on podium is bouncier. It is a little different in terms of timing, but Oklahoma a couple times this season, so theoretically it shouldn't really be an issue. But interesting to note, what athletes do have trouble with are those power athletes. Like, for example, from Stanford, Kyla Bryant, who does a full twisting double back, she had to bounce out of bounds. And it's just those power athletes that have trouble controlling that power. Guys, we will not see those E passes from the Sooners tonight. We'll see difficult passes, do not get me wrong, like triple fulls and front double fulls, and of course double backs, but just not the same as those double layouts and those double Arabians and those full twisting double backs, guys.
Thank you, Meg. First performer for Stanford on the beam in this fourth and final rotation, Wesley Stevenson.
Well, this is going to be a new challenge for the Cardinals. Competing on the podium again, mid-season. They started off very first meet of the year on podium. Now that they've had a little bit more experience of competing, it'll be interesting to see how they find that balance.
Stevenson, the second highest returning score from last year's lineup on beam, averaged over 9.8. Tabitha Yim, the head coach at Stanford, said they were really working on her pre-performance routine to help her get in the zone before she stepped up on the beam. And did you have a particular pre-performance routine or keywords that you focused on when you were getting set to go?
Well, it kind of depended on where in my career, what age. You know, when you're younger, you just go through the movements. You just kind of do as you're told. You don't really think too much. You just get up and do. And then as you age, you realize, oh, I could fall, and this could affect my. So I tried to just lower my heart rate by sitting down and kind of taking some deep breaths to just do what I naturally know how to do.
Wesley Stevenson, lead off on beam. This is the first year she's been in that role, and she does a nice job for the Cardinal. Jordan Draper will get the leadoff spot for the Sooners on the floor.
She has such a fun routine. Has a country theme, Texas theme. She is a Texan, and even us Okies like it. This is knowing your athlete. This is what Coach Kendler does best, is knows what works, what they like, what they're going to perform the best to.
Last year she competed in 13 meets on the floor for the Sooners, a career high 9.95 against Florida. She's been very reliable here, 5 times 9.875 this year.
She's better conditioned this year than last, and it's exciting to see. You could see the potential last year, and for her to bring it this year and to keep training extremely hard over the summer, because she knew her role was needed for floor exercise and being a leadoff. She really gets everybody in the mood. You know, it's like, hey, we're doing floor now. Everybody get up. It's exciting. I like that about her.
The junior from Bedford, Texas.
So this is new for her this season. Last tumbling pass. Oh, my mistake. A little bit different, but that's all right. Clean. She shows flipping and twisting, just what the judges want to see. Tell the fans really like her.
Chloe Widner up for Stanford now. Wesley Stevenson led them off with a 9.775.
I love the way she does balance beam. It looks so easy for her. You'll notice as you watch this routine. Switch lead, switch lead.
You mentioned she was coached by Kim Zemeskel, former world champion. There are a lot of similarities in their technique.
Exactly right, and that shows good leadership from Kim, but also good as an athlete to follow through with what the coach is trying to guide you with and teach you.
Great technique and execution.
Yeah, you can totally see it. It's night and day, and she's so relaxed. I mean, I love this combination. She kind of goes down, twists down the beam. It's a little bit different, and that's what separates. Oh, little moonwalk action. I like that. It's fun to see them do something different to make their routine stand out. What a fantastic routine for her. Way to end her competition tonight.
And her teammates are pumped up. Stanford doing a really nice job. We mentioned earlier that they struggled at the beginning of the season with some injuries, some people in and out of the lineup, but they're having a good day today, and they look like they are going to get a quality score that will add into their season average. Speaking of somebody who's having a good day, how about freshman Reagan Smith? She was terrific on the bars and beam. Let's see what she can do on an event where she really shines, the floor as well.
Well, and she would be used to a podium, having competed in world championships. She has more experience. Look how high. We all know she could probably do something a little more difficult than just a double tuck, but this is, she's working on so many different elements, but I have to tell you, I see a difference in her just tonight. I mean, literally from first event to, she is gamer. She's like, game on.
I agree, Kelly. I think we're just seeing her sort of come out of her shell.
Yes.
You know, she was so many years in that elite world where there was such a focus on pressure and it was all individual. Now she seems to be embracing all the really wonderful things about what collegiate gymnastics is. The team spirit, the energy that she gets from her teammates. And this is a forum where she can really shine.
That's right. I love that we're getting to watch it live tonight. It truly does feel like she just popped out of her little shell. Double, oh! Take that to the bank. Nice. Do you see the energy?
That's fantastic. There's your OU.
So exciting.
She's
wow.
a neighbor to the south. She's from Texas, but right now she's all Boomer Sooner.
Absolutely. So you're going to see what we're talking about right here. Finishing that double pike. She knows she's got it.
Ashley Ty on beam now for Stanford, coming after Chloe Widner. Got a 9.925, deservedly so. A career-high score for Widner in that second spot. Stanford having a really nice rotation here.
So far, so good. Don't want to jinx it. She had a beautiful triple series, backhand, lay. You know, it's hard to finish on balance beam last event. Doesn't seem to phase them at all.
You see her coach Tabitha Yim there standing at the end of the beam. She's clapping and cheering her on.
Look at that dismount. Yes.
And another thrilling performance. Look at the excitement for the young ladies from the Stanford Cardinal. They are pumped up about having a great rotation on beam.
You know, it is so great to see when you see it like that. Because they know how hard they work. They just got to do it in competition.
Reagan Smith had a career-high 9.975, deservedly so. And that brings up Jay Degovea.
This gal right here, she is intense and passionate. Oh, you know what?
Oh, out of bounds.
Yeah, she did. And you know what? That doesn't totally surprise me because she really plays right to the corner. So she's going to have to find that. I mean, these are good experiences to say, look, we have to be completely on our game postseason. Can't afford those mistakes to win a championship. Jade's routine is so creative. Her hands, her fingers, everything, her arms, look at that. High, high releve. Perfect split position, above 180. Now she might be thinking, ooh, last tumbling, stay in bounds. You know, she does travel with those twisting elements. But she nailed that last pass, great. Only real mistake I saw was that first tumbling pass.
Taylor Lawson up to go now for Stanford, coming after Ashley Ty, a 9.875. So Stanford's three scores there are 9.775, 9.25, and 9.875. A solid rotation for the Cardinal here so far.
She has an amazing skill right here. You've got to see the standing Arabian. So hard. Something you would see in Olympic competition. Oh, she just, I mean, it was excellent. Could not be better. So difficult. From one beamer to the next, I mean, that definitely raises your eyebrows when you see somebody do something like that.
This is the highest ranked event that Stanford is in the NCAA rankings based on their average scores. They're currently 21st in the nation, but if they continue to perform like this, they're going to move up in the rankings because this is a good beam team.
Absolutely. You can see she did her training at Parkettes as a youngster, and you can see the technique, the difficulty. There's one area I think she could improve just slightly, and is that moving a little quicker in the routine and not preparing before each skill. But you know what? It's still a dynamic routine.
It's so exciting to see the energy from Stanford over there. They are pumped up. They're going to have a quality team score, and boy, are they crushing it on beam as we go back to floor for the Sooners. Emma LaPinta coming after the score for Jade Degovea 9.775. Remember, she went out of bounds.
Well, that's exactly right. Emma, she has a really nice tumbling pass. You don't see this very often in college. Triple twist, and she lands it. Those are difficult to find that landing. It's nice to see her coming, too, out of her shell a little bit, starting to dance. She's always been able to tumble. Just a little spitfire. You can see a slight bend in her legs in that layout, something that's a little unusual for her.
We saw her do an exhibition performance on vault earlier this evening, a 9.775 there. Sophomore from Frisco, Texas, did her club training at Kurt Thomas Gymnastics Academy with Kurt and his wife Becky. They do a fantastic job. It's great to see her on this team.
Well, she does have the different, the full package. She can twist and flip, and that's really what the judges want to see. They want to be able to see both. Great routine for her. She's sometimes a hit or miss gal, so it's really nice to see her kind of become a little more stable, a little more consistent.
7 of 8 meets she's been on the floor for the Sooners this year. Twice she scored 9 nines. Lauren Navarro now for Stanford. Another outstanding score for them. Taylor Lawson before her, a 9.85.
She also has one of these difficult first triple series. I can't see right into a layout. I mean, they are spot on.
Had to come back from a foot injury, excuse me, Kelly, but came back from a foot injury to compete in 6 meets on beam for Stanford. Very artistic gymnast.
She is. What I was going to say is she doesn't panic. You know, she was a little bit off on her turn, and that really shows a gymnast who has experience, so they don't freak out. Look at that, fighting for the landing. She's like, I'll take it. She did lift her foot a touch, but that's okay this time of year. You know, at least she stuck it, and I think it'll count. It'll give her the confidence to know that she can stick it on.
Back to this floor for the Sooners. Emma LaPinta ties her career high with a 9.9. And it's time for Vanessa Denise.
Get ready to watch Vanessa's first tumbling pass. It's unique. And it's close to the corner.
Saw her on bars earlier tonight, 9.825.
Here's that pass. Wow. Tippy, tippy, tippy toe. She has a different style than most collegiate gymnasts. More of a classical look.
Unusual music, interesting selection.
Well, I do think Coach Kendler is so gifted in that way to find these music that it really gravitates to a certain kid, or the kid gravitates to, I mean, she just can make that magically happen year after year. It just surprises me. I don't know why.
Well, KJ says she has an extensive playlist. She said, all I do is listen to music.
You can see how and why, because it's magical the way she does it.
Last week, Vanessa Denise had a 9.925 on floor. Expect a good score for that effort as well. Kyla Bryant set to go now for Stanford on beam. Lauren Navarro a 9.75. So outstanding rotation for Stanford on beam. And this is the final performer in the lineup. They anticipate an exhibition performance for Morgan Huang, but Stanford could get an outstanding beam score here in this final rotation if she could nail one here. Kyla Bryant.
Here's that triple, or the series. Watch here, switch split standing. That shows you the power that she has in her legs, the strength. What I love about her, she doesn't need a single sparkle on that leotard. She has it naturally. Can't really get my eyes off of her. She's just, yeah. Look at this dismount. Unbelievable. What a difficult dismount. Something you would see, again, in the Olympic Games. A back handspring to single to 2 foot to double back. She is not messing around.
Stanford finishing off an outstanding rotation on the beam. They'll have one final exhibition performer before they wrap it up over there. But here is Anastasia Webb. And remember, I told you how close the all-around is between her and Reagan Smith. They were separated by just .075 coming into this final rotation. Vanessa Denise had a 9.875, by the way.
So she starts off with a front double full, but just enjoy watching this. Second pass, full, nice. I love how she floated that second front full. Really controlled the landing. Anastasia. Sometimes I think you can see the fatigue, you can see it, and I see it when she doesn't have as much expression. Her skill, she has to really focus and think, and she did it. She nailed it. She didn't have as much expression and personality coming out, but that, you know, that's okay. She hit her routine. That's what the coaches are looking for.
More than a 9.9 will allow her to secure the all-around title that currently Reagan Smith is holding with a 39.65. So we'll be back with her score in a minute as we go to the exhibition performance of Morgan Huang from Stanford. They've already had 6 athletes up, and so their athletes who are in the lineup for competitive scores are done. Kyla Bryant finished them off with a 9.85, so just a great all-around effort on beam for Stanford in that last rotation.
One thing you're going to want to watch with Morgan coming up, she has this front aerial, and it's like no other. It really floats, and normally they're a little more. Here it comes. Oh, man. Unfortunately, she just didn't get the push that she normally does. Well, I'm sure she'll go home and work on that, but I know she has a beautiful one. I've seen it. Pike right into a ring, a double stag ring. Back foot's got to be up high and dropping the head back. She's got a difficult routine. I'd like her to dismount how it also normally floats. So let's see right here. Up. Yeah. Real pretty. You can see that 4.5. She pops her arms out.
Really nice
up.
technique.
Yeah, and then just floats down to the landing. You don't see that very often.
Scores in for Anastasia Webb. It is a 9-9, so she ties Reagan Smith for the all-around. How nice tonight. Maggie Nichols out of the all-around, not even competing for the Sooners because of her sprained ankle. And two other Sooners step up in a big way. Anastasia Webb has done it all year long. But a great night for Reagan Smith, a career high for her in the all-around. They tie for the all-around title here as Allie Stern steps up for the Sooners in an exhibition performance.
We really haven't had the opportunity to see Allie that much, so this is fun. And like I said earlier, when you have the starters in, sometimes you don't get to see some of these other unique routines. Started with a double pike, second pass nice and secure, twisting. You know, it's funny because I would not hear this music and think, oh, I'm going to do a floor routine to this. But Coach Killer has the ability to visualize what they're going to look like. It's truly a gift. Here's the last pass. It's a little tired.
Oh, my.
Okay. Oh. Ouch. I hope she's not hurt.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, hope she's all right. That is a low landing.
That was a really bad fall.
That stings.
You know, when you see a fall like that, you never really know what the outcome is. So you could walk off and say, ouch, that just killed my ankles, or just say sitting there. So
we did say at the top of the show that this isn't that part in the season where the athletes are tired and they're competing week in and week out. And even Stanford, you know, they have this meet Friday night. Sunday afternoon, they're competing at Stanford. So they have two meets on the weekend. So this is a tough part of the season. They are really being tested. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that Allie Stern is okay and that those ankles on that low landing aren't too severely sprained. All right, we'll go take a break here and wrap up this one from Oklahoma City. The Sooners get the easy win with a 197.65, and Stanford a 196, a great score for them to build their team average. We'll wrap this one up from Oklahoma City when we come back. Let's wrap things up at the 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge. Here is the final team score. Stanford finishing very strong on beam with that 49.275. That's the third time this year they've been 196 or better, and they looked very enthusiastic about that score and how it will factor into their average scores, which is how we determine postseason standings. The Oklahoma Sooners, again over 197, this time a 197.55. An uncharacteristically low score for them on the beam, that 49.225. But a great night and another win, and the Sooners remain undefeated on this 2020 season. Let's go down to Meg, who's with KJ Kindler.
Bart, thanks so much. Olivia Troutman goes 9.975 last week on vault. She gets the 10 today. What has impressed you most about this athlete?
She stuck here last year, too. It's like her thing. She likes to get 10s, had the perfect 10. So it was really exciting, and I told those guys I'd do a little dance move if they got a 10 tonight, so I had to do it. But she's awesome, amazing. She's stuck 2 vaults now. It's hard. It's a difficult vault, and it's difficult to nail just like that. So kudos to her.
Reagan Smith, a 39.65 in the all-around today. How have you seen her grown over the course of this season?
Yeah, well, tonight you can kind of see the fire in her eyes. She's just become more confident as we've gone along. And do you just see the joy when she finishes and those fists, and she's just pumping her fists? I mean, I love seeing her personality. I think at first she didn't know what to make of the whole thing, and now she's like, oh my gosh, I can be crazy and wild and do it all. So, I mean, just amazing performances tonight from her, especially on floor. Best floor routine I've ever seen her do.
This team has dealt with some injuries, some illness this week. What's the message to the Sooners after this competition?
Well, the message was we need to get some rest. There's some fatigue setting in. We definitely have some illnesses going through the team. I think we could see that on floor with breathing issues and people feeling a little tired. So we need to get healthy, get some sleep, get some rest, and go back to work. But really, I think that's going to take some time, and I don't know that we can control it. So just got to do our best there.
KJ, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Bart, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Meg. It's the 68 out of 69 meets in a row. The Sooners have been over 197. And once again, they prove why they're the #1 team in the country. How about this Olivia Troutman on the vault, Kelly?
Coach Kindler said it best. She likes to score a 10, and so she does. Right there on bars, Jade. And then following up with Reagan Smith, just having the night of her life, and it's right there. You can see it. It's just so exciting. And then she brings it every event tonight, but balance beam's her thing. She knows it. This is Anastasia Webb. She nails her routine. She's such a gamer. Look at Smith finishing her floor routine. She's on. She's excited. Watch here. The ending. As Coach Kindler said, best routine of her life.
And in the all-around, a tie. Reagan Smith has the best meet of her collegiate career. It's a 39.65. Anastasia Webb has been solid in the all-around all year long for the Sooners, and they tie. So on a night when Maggie Nichols is resting up from a sprained ankle, these two Sooners step forward and deliver outstanding all-around performances. Let's take a look at the road ahead for the Sooners. You mentioned KJ Kindler said we need a little time to rest up. Well, they better rest up quickly, because next week they welcome one of the best teams in the country, Denver, and that'll be on ESPNU. That'll be down from the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman. So all in all, a great competition for the 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge. For my statistician, Dan Cavanaugh, our producer, Jacob Potter, and Kelly Garrison Funderburk, I'm Bart Connor. We're glad you tuned in. It was the 2020 Perfect 10 Challenge. The Sooners remain undefeated as they are on track to compete once again for their 5th NCAA championship. A great weekend of gymnastics here in Oklahoma City at the Barton Nadia Sports Experience, and the marquee event of the weekend did not disappoint. So long from Oklahoma City.